This can be enormously frustrating. I'm here to help you know what to do when your child custody agreement fails. Unfortunately, this happens all too often, and we know exactly why your child custody agreement failed. And it wasn't your fault, was it? I know. It's hard to deal with an ex, especially one who doesn't quite get it. You know, the importance of this agreement that you came up with. I, as a professional psychologist, spent 13 years of my career doing child custody evaluations for the court. I have seen it. I've seen all of the tactics that are used. I've seen the nasty things that can happen. And I've seen the way that it hurts children. And not only the kids, but their parents too. This has to do with you, but really it's about the kids. And I want to help create solutions in this world that will serve our children better. So listen up for a minute about the custody agreement. Custody agreements, custody decrees, divorce decrees are the law as it pertains to your family. When a judge signs off on that, it becomes law for your family. This is a little misleading to some people because you'd think that, well, a law has to be followed, right? Yeah, you'd think. The problem is in child custody cases, there are what we call unenforceable rules. Unenforceable rules are exactly what they sound like. You can't enforce them, can you? The problem is the court often can't enforce them either. I'll come back to that in just a minute. It's kind of like having a list of preferences that the judge signs off on. And you're like, yes, I got what I wanted. This is going to be the best thing for me and for our family and for the kids. And the judge even signed off on it. And you feel a little justified because of that. And you just feel like, see, I was right after all. And maybe you actually were. But here's the thing. It's kind of like having a preference for the weather. And making a rule about how, okay, the weather around here gets to be 72 degrees every day. Well, just because that's your preference and you make a rule about it doesn't mean that you can enforce it. I use the weather as an example because it's a pretty good example of the level of control you have over many of the things that are actually listed in a custody agreement. Think about it. You make agreements about how you're going to share time, how you're going to solve problems with the kids, how you're going to make decisions and involve each other in making those decisions, and it all sounds great and looks good on paper. And it's completely unenforceable. Sometimes people choose to actually follow their agreements, but other times, as you well know, people don't choose to follow those agreements. So what are we going to do about it? I've got a few tips for you. And the first tip is to go against your gut feel and be slow to go back to court. Honestly, I got to tell you, I worked with one family who spent over $300,000 on their custody dispute. 300 grand, that's $250,000 on a fight? What else could they have spent that money on? It's extremely expensive to hire attorneys and to draft up the documents and to go to court. Every time somebody doesn't keep up their end of the agreement, every time someone doesn't follow one of those unenforceable rules, be slow to go back to court. I spent 13 years of my career in the court system doing the evaluations for the court. Here's what I found. It's a terrible place to solve family problems. Our courts are designed for our justice system. It's an adversarial system that's set up to defend the innocent and to prosecute the guilty. All right, we already have a problem. Because if we go into a custody situation or a divorce situation thinking about innocence or guilt, thinking about who's to blame and who needs to be punished, we're approaching this from a completely destructive standpoint when it comes to family relationships. The court is a terrible place to solve family problems. Combine that with the fact that we've got all these unenforceable rules. If you run back to court, you're probably going to be frustrated. Disclaimer, I'm a psychologist. I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice, and your attorney might tell you, oh, we need to go to court. Listen to your attorney, but remember who hired your attorney. Your attorney is working for you, not the other way around. And if you decide, you know what, it doesn't serve my family well to continue this battle, I don't want to spend $250,000 having a fight when I could put that money toward my kids' college education. Think about that. You decide what direction this is going to go. And again, I'm not giving you legal advice, I'm giving you relationship coaching. Because the court is a terrible place to solve family problems. So be very slow to go back to court. Only do that if it's absolutely necessary, and usually it's not. Okay, the next piece of advice I have for you has to do with your own integrity. I want you to come through this with your integrity fully intact. And what that means is you get to breathe a little, remember who you are, choose the high road, handle this with civility and respect and love. Some people get a little tipped over when I bring up love in the context of a divorce. Here's what I've found in my 30 years practicing psychology. There's ways to have a good divorce and there's ways to have a bad divorce. And it turns out that the ways to have a good divorce are exactly the same ways that you can have a good marriage. Positivity, values, humility, forgiveness, respect, love, compassion, work, and wholesome recreational activities. There are 9 principles that I believe will help you to have a good marriage. Guess what? Same 9 principles will help you to have a good divorce. Take the high road. Practice civility and respect and love and compassion and everything else that I just mentioned on that list of 9 principles. This will help you to get the best outcomes for you and your family. Problem is, when we get into a divorce and especially a child custody dispute, people take all of those principles and throw them out the window as if they're not going to be relevant anymore. It's not true. Do you know any bitter, angry, divorced people? Are you one of those people? We all know bitter, angry, divorced people because they stop practicing love, respect, compassion, the things that are actually going to make things better. Now, I know there's a reason why the marriage ended in the first place. I get that. It didn't end your family. And if you want to have a successful, thriving family, you've got to do it based on these principles. I'm convinced of that. And I want you to come through this with your integrity intact. So if somebody doesn't keep your unenforceable rules, you get to go back to the 9 principles and ask yourself, how can I show up as forgiving? How can I show up as respectful, as compassionate, as loving? This helps you to come through with your integrity. And maybe other people aren't going to keep their commitments. Sorry. I mean, that's a hassle, but it's not something that you control. Here's my final tip for you today. When that custody agreement is not kept, when it fails miserably, go back to your relationship with your child. In the context of whatever that means. This is hardest if you are denied parenting time with that child, and that's a violation of your agreement, and I can see why you think that that might fix it. But you have to take whatever is your context, whatever that context is, you focus on the relationship with your child, and in doing so, refuse to implicate the other parent as the evil one, as the bad guy. Don't go there. It will backfire. I have seen this so many times when parents are bad-mouthing or even bad-thinking the other parent. And yes, it's good to not talk badly about the other parent in front of the kids. Thank you. That's good. It's even better to not think badly about the other parent at all. And that's hard. It might take some coaching. It might take a little bit of psychological work on your part. That's fine. Get some help. Come to us. Let us help you out with that if you need to. Because this is the important part. Your relationship with your child has to stand on its own 2 feet, not on the opinion of your ex. And as you build this relationship to the extent that you can, given all of the limitations that exist, you can keep your integrity intact like we talked about before. Keep the high road, be slow to go back to court, and realize that you've got some power here in the relationship you have with your child. And at the end of the day, that's got to stand on its own 2 feet. They will come back to that relationship when they reach a level of emotional maturity that they can actually do this. And it will be the thing that you get to carry forward into the balance of your life. And it will change their life as well. Pay some attention to it and work on that. Hey, I was serious earlier when I said you might need some coaching on this. And if you don't yet have a coach, and if you'd like me to help you with that, I'm all over it. I'd be happy to do that personally or get one of my licensed coaches to assist you with working through this. It's the most important thing on the table right now. So contact us, will you? Reach out, drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call, and you can get on a free call with one of our coaches to see how we might be able to assist you. drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call.
Into my eyes and never let it go.